Welcome back to Konatu's Games, where I strive to survive. This is episode 4 or 5. It's episode 5 of an Interloper playthrough of The Long Dark. Today, I'm going to leave Pleasant Valley and head over to Coastal Highway. I have a hammer, I have a hacksaw, and I'm going to prepare to forge over in Desolation Point. First of all, however, I just want to say thank you to my audience. Some of you have left incredibly kind comments. Some of you have left useful and constructive comments. Some of you have liked my videos or subscribed to the channel, but all of you have clicked on one of my videos, one or more of my videos, and watched some of the content. That really makes a difference to me. That means something to me. And I just want to say to all of you, regardless of your level of engagement, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's get into episode 5. So here I am in the community center. Last time, I said I was going to leave all this stuff behind, rabbit pelts, guts. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be in Coastal Highway for a while, then Desolation Point to forge, then I will head to Mystery Lake from there, and I don't know when I'll actually be coming back here, so I would rather just take everything I'm going to need. I do need to drop some weight before I leave, so let's take care of that now. I will need the hammer. Don't need all of this. I'll get plenty of coal in the transition. Don't need 2 skillets, need the hacksaw. I don't think I'll need these things anytime soon. So I'm going to leave them. I'll leave some cloth. I think my clothing is in pretty good condition. There's lots of cloth in Coastal Highway. That could be a little bit better. And now it is. I'm just going to drop that one. Let's see, what else? I could leave some fuses here. And some wires. I'll leave a can opener, I don't need 2. I'll leave some salt, I don't need all of it. I have a lot of potatoes, I can cook those later, that's fine, I'll take them with me. I want the leather, I want the matches, I want all my clothes. I don't need this can. I want to take all my teas. Leave this sewing kit. I'll leave this hat, why not? And I think we're good to go. With the well-fed bonus, and with the technical backpack, we are light. So it's a blizzard, but I'm not going to be outside long. And the blizzard should protect me from predators. Animals don't spawn in blizzards, although they will be active if they were nearby when the blizzard set in. Now, I don't often go from Pleasant Valley to Coastal Highway, so I am going to have to find the cave, but I have a pretty good idea of where it is. I've gone to it a few few times before, but I haven't memorized it. The blizzard could be a problem in that regard. But if it is, there are plenty of caves that I can take refuge in near to where I'm going. So I'd like to talk about my short-term plans for this channel. Let me go around this way. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I am a college professor. I teach philosophy. And the semester is just starting. So I'm going to be a bit busy. So my plan is to finish the Signal Void playthrough that I'm currently working on. And then I'll probably put the Tales from the Far Territory in general on hold. Maybe not. We'll see how far I get. Well, I at least want to finish Signal Void. I'll continue playing Interloper, but once Signal Void is done, I'm probably going to get a sprain here. I think I want to start... You know what? Let's just wait until I find a path. I think I know where I am. There's a big hill here. There should be a path up, and the cave should be on top of it. I would like to start a misery run. And I have some ideas of things I want to talk about in that misery run as well. This is a bear cave, as far as I know. And I don't know if there is an active bear. But I may as well stop in here for a minute and see if I can warm up a bit. Maybe wait for the blizzard to pass. Going to go up here just in case there is a bear. So I've played a little bit of Misery. I haven't played a ton of it, but I really enjoy it. You know, I'm not incredible at it or anything like that, but that's what I like about it. It reminds me of when I first started playing Interloper, where I'm just constantly cold, which you can't do in Misery. You can't be cold, because in Misery mode, you don't recover health after the first 48 days. I haven't gotten that far. Let's see if I have anything I can make. Ah, potatoes. Good. So, I would like to start a misery mode run. See how far I get. It's entirely possible that I don't get very far at all. That's alright. But I am really enjoying misery. So I'll still keep playing this Interloper run, but I'll also play Misery, and I think the Tales from the Far Territory series will probably go on the back burner for a little while, and then occasionally I'll probably release a big chunk of that at a time. When I want a more casual experience, I can play for a few hours and then edit that down, so that you get a lot of progression relatively quickly. So those are the plans for the short term. Continue Interloper, start a misery run, finish out Signal Void, and then put that on hold for a little while. Now, I mentioned, for anyone who's interested, because we have a little bit of downtime here, we're just going to chill by the fire. I did mention that I am a college instructor, I'm a philosopher. So I have as an undergraduate, I studied mathematics and philosophy. And then I earned my master's and my PhD in philosophy. And I always wanted to teach. I had a great teacher, an amazing teacher as an undergraduate, who was really inspirational to me and encouraged me. And ever since my first class with him, I wanted to be a college instructor. So I've been doing that for a while now, and I really enjoy it. I love connecting with my students. I love talking about philosophical concepts, the nature of the self, the nature of reality, the possibility of knowledge, human emotion, and the ethical significance of human relationships. These are things that really interest and excite me, and that I teach. So, if anyone here is interested in philosophy, and it doesn't matter if you have any experience with it, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'd love to think about whatever it is that you love to think about. The name of this channel, because I don't think I've ever explained this either, also derives from philosophy. It derives from the idea of conatus, and specifically, when I think of that term, I have Spinoza's notion of conatus in mind. For Spinoza, conatus refers to the characteristic of all things, or a predisposition of all things, to persevere in their existence, in their being. That is, all things, in a certain sense, strive to persist in being. Which I've, of course, glossed as strive to survive, since I like survival games. I'm pretty comfy and cozy in this cave. I'm going to stick around a little longer. See if this blizzard dies down. I think I'll be having potatoes for dinner, well, with dinner in real life, so this is a little bit of a preview for me. I actually have a deadline for this episode where I have to stop playing so that I can put potatoes in the oven. Although I guess I can just, take care of all that and come back, depending on where we are. We'll see. It's a pretty slow, relaxed day for me. I hope that you're having a nice, relaxing day, or at least a productive day, or whatever it is that today needed to be for you, and that you hopefully wanted it to be. It's nice when those things coincide. Well, I hope that that's the day that you're having. can't wait until I find thermos. A thermos really increases your ability to stay out in the cold weather drastically. Instead of just 2, maybe 3 teas before they cool down, you can drink more like 5 or 6. And that's incredibly powerful. This stuff keeps you warm in the cold. So I know I've explained it before, but for anyone who hasn't seen it or doesn't know, you can set these out. Oh, I'm doing it incorrectly, actually. You can set these out, and then once they're ready, you can reset them by just right-clicking, and then they won't burn. See? There's no more timer. They'll just stay like that. I'm not sure if that works when it's actually on the fire. I think that'll burn. All right, this worked out really well. The potatoes are basically done, my tea's all hot, and the blizzard is over. So let's get a move on. Now I prepared those teas to help keep me warm, but if the blizzard's done, they're probably not going to be necessary, but hey, it's better to be prepared. I had the fire going already. No harm in preparing. So, the entrance to Coastal Highway is up here, where I'm looking now. So, as far as I know, you just follow this wall. There can be wolves in the path, but this torch should keep me safe. And eventually I'll come to a trail that will let me climb up there. So for anyone who's interested while we're walking here, and if you're not interested, that's fine. You know, let me know in the comments. I'm not interested. Stop talking about your life. That's fine. But for anyone who's interested, type of philosophy I'm interested in is by and large known as, for the most part, it's what is known as continental philosophy. My work is situated relative to, I think in the first place, Descartes. René Descartes, a French philosopher and mathematician. If you have ever done any math, you know the XY plane, the coordinates, where you have an intersection of 2 points on an x-axis and a y-axis, and then you can, you know, graph things, you can do geometry with that. That was Descartes. Those are called Cartesian coordinates, and Descartes came up with those. And he was concerned with the foundations of knowledge. He said, look, math is certain, but our empirical sciences and our philosophy don't seem to be certain. We don't know anything for sure in those domains. And he wanted to try to secure certainty in the natural sciences and in philosophy to the same degree that mathematics yielded certainty. And I think maybe one of his greatest contributions was what's known as the dreaming argument. He argued that you can't tell at any given moment whether you're really awake or whether you're dreaming. You can dream all sorts of wild, crazy things that don't make any sense, but you can also dream perfectly reasonable things. You can dream that you're watching YouTube right now. That's a perfectly coherent thing to have a dream about. And for you, maybe that's a good dream, maybe it's a bad dream. You know, maybe that's a very boring dream to you or something, but you can have that dream, that's possible. And while you're in the dream, there's no way to tell. I think I want those. There's no way to tell that it is a dream. Even if you could tell once you're awake. You know, maybe. It's a big if. But even if you could tell, once you're awake, you can't tell while you're having the dream. At least not always. And that's all he needs. Once he shows that, in principle, you cannot know for certain that you're awake right now, this means you can no longer trust your senses. And if you can't trust your senses, then you can't really know about the external world. Now, I have some problems with that argument, but that's not what's important right now. The important thing is that Descartes, with this argument, and with his following argument, that shows that even if you are dreaming, you must exist. You're whatever is dreaming. The dreamer. And so you know yourself, even if you don't know the world. This is a lot of coal. That argument sets up modern philosophy that takes the self, one's own self, to be a basis or foundation for knowledge. It takes the self to be well known, or at least better known, than anything else. Now, Descartes was not a skeptic. He didn't think you actually couldn't know anything other than the existence of the self. He thought you could know all sorts of things, but he had arguments for that, and those arguments didn't really work. They didn't pan out. And so even though he wasn't a skeptic, his dreaming argument and the claim that all you can really know is the self, that's his legacy. Despite his best interests. That's his philosophical legacy in a nutshell. That sets the basis for modern philosophy, but also for German idealism. People like Immanuel Kant, Hegel, all of that. And then, through some transformations, the phenomenologists. Edmund Husserl, Martin Heidegger, another sewing kit. I love sewing kits, I'll take as many as I can find. And so, my work is broadly situated within what's called postmodern philosophy, where basically I just don't take the self to be the foundation of my philosophy. I don't think the self is the best known thing in the world. I don't think it's certain. I don't think that we know ourselves in an unproblematic way, or any of that. For me, the relationships to the world and the relationships to others are at least as fundamental. Wow, I'm out of torches. I forgot that I have a lantern. I've just been burning through my torches, and I just didn't need to. That's a little bit of a problem, actually, because... Let's see if I can get a... Oh, I can't. Alright, it's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, it's already out. There might be wolves. So we'll deal with that as necessary. It's a nice warm day, though. I don't even have a torch to guarantee a fire. Alright. I'll use accelerant just to guarantee it so I don't waste multiple matches. Let's throw one of those coals on there. Grab some torches. So anyway, what I'm interested in is human experience, and especially the dimensions of experience that are unique to interpersonal encounters, when one person encounters another person. What is unique to that kind of experience, and especially the ethical dimensions of that. That's what I'm really interested in. And that overlaps a lot with cognitive science, which is an interdisciplinary field that includes philosophy. And so I'm very interested in cognitive science in general. I'm interested in emotion. I'm interested in psychopathology, all sorts of things in cognitive science. Okay, so that's enough of that. We're in Coastal Highway. I love Coastal Highway. I have not been here in a long time, but it used to be one of my main stomping grounds. I used to spend a lot of time here. There are a lot of great bases. There's lots of wildlife. Navigating Coastal Highway is quite easy. If you're ever lost, just head down. Just head down. If you're ever lost and you're already down, find a road. If you're lost on the lake in a blizzard, well, now you're actually in a lot of trouble. Just wanted to see something there. But really, this is a pretty beginner-friendly zone. The only issue is that there are a lot of predators here. There are multiple bear. I believe there's 2 or 3 usually, which can be an advantage once you can hunt, if you're comfortable hunting bear. There can be moose, and there can be a lot of wolves. And all of those things can be in abundance over by one of the more popular bases, which is Quonset or Quonset, I don't know how to pronounce it, garage. It's just a wolf nest. So that can be one problem with this place, especially if you're new to the game, you don't know how to deal with wolves, but even for more experienced players, if you let your guard down, you just come out of your base one time, not prepared, not ready, it could be disastrous for you. There are a lot of resources here. There's maple. At least usually there's maple. There's birch. I plan on picking up some maple before moving to Desolation Point. There are also some deer carcasses that you can harvest for hides even before being able to hunt. Now that I have a hacksaw, I will probably do that as well before moving on. As you can see, the temperature is very mild. It is late in the day, so that's contributing to the warm temperature. But still, there are plenty of regions where even late in the day you'll be at least a little cold. If not very cold, especially in the far territory. Some of those regions get extremely cold. It doesn't really matter what time of day we're talking about. So let's see if we have anything interesting here. Another skill book. Many skill books on this run. That's good. If I get stuck inside, I'll have something to do. Note left behind. The most violent storm always begins and ends in a whisper. I've left this place now because the last summer is coming. If you want to find me, I'm paddling across shattered ice to the Arctic sunset. These lights shouldn't be in the sky. It's a dance I don't know. Somehow we must progress from this. In a different age we walked out of the hot sands of the old continent. Now we're here again. The long dark is coming. All these tools will become useless. Take a step. Walk, because it's your destiny to make it out of here. Way to go, backer 4783. That's pretty good. Alright, not much here, but I think that was worth it. All on its own. You can see a lot in this map. That's one of the things that makes it a relatively straightforward map. You can see almost the entire map when you have elevation. It makes it very easy to navigate. I want to see something before continuing along the path. Can't tell. There can be maple down there, but there's also maple where I'm going, so I'm just going to keep going this way. Just keeping this torch up in case of wolves. As I said, there's a lot of predators here, and I will be heading into wolf country in just a little while. There's often a wolf right on the path over here that I was on before, that I'm getting back onto now. That lookout is often guarded, if you will, by a wolf or two. There can also be a bear where I'm going. My plan right now is to go to Quonset Garage, loot it, leave some things there, set that up as my regional base, and then, depending on what I find, mostly depending on if I find maple or not, I'll either loot the rest of Coastal Highway or I will move straight to Desolation Point. I would like to get maple and some deer hides before heading to Desolation Point. That way, when I'm done, I can make a survival bow and some deerskin clothing. There's deerskin boots and a deerskin pants. I would like to make those as soon as possible. And then the next step after that is to hunt bear and moose. I can do that here. And then start making items out of bear and moose hides. It's at that point, once I have some bear and moose curing, hopefully, we'll see. If I don't encounter a moose, then that might change things. It's at that point that I will loot the rest of Coastal Highway, probably. And then move west to Mystery Lake, maybe Mountain Town and Hush River Valley, and then the Broken Railroad, and then the Far Territories. I think there can be some maple up here, but I don't see any. So I'll go back this way. Almost lost that one. Alright, looks like we have some birch. That's not too helpful to me, but it will help me make arrows. So I'll take it. Alright, there can be a bear in this general vicinity, so I have to be careful. I believe he has a small cave right there. I don't think it's a full cave. Yeah, it looks like... Is that a body or is that bones? That's bones. So I believe the bear is active there. I'm not sure. I think bones means that there is a bear that spawns at that cave. It doesn't mean that he's always spawned. But I believe that will be an active bear spawn. I'm going to check this trailer. Let's try to get this done quickly. There's tons of wood at Quonset. It's covered in, it's surrounded by pallets. And so you can break those down. It takes time. But there's plenty of it. Acorns can be cooked and eaten, but they can also be ground up using a hammer and made into a coffee substitute. I love how peaceful the game can be in this, especially in this post-blizzard kind of light, blurry weather. You hear those howls. That means there are at least 2 wolves nearby. And that's probably right at Quonset Garage, which I'm basically above right now. I'm going to go over here and collect these mushrooms, and then I'll start heading down towards the garage. It's okay, buddy. I'm not going to hurt you. I can't. There are a couple of places where you can set up a base in this region. The garage, where I'm heading, is by far the most popular one. But people also set up, the bear can be right here too, people also set up in a little fishing village on the western side of the map. And sometimes they set up in one of the cabins up on the islands on the bay. I think I called it a lake earlier. It's not a lake. Okay, so that building is destroyed. I wanted to check it out. Oh well. Looks like both of these are destroyed as well. Usually you get one of the 3, but it looks like all of them are destroyed. That's alright. There'll be some over there as well. So here's the garage right in front of me. It has snow on its roof. You can see it right over there. There's usually nothing in these mailboxes, but sometimes there's newspaper or some other kind of tinder. And sometimes I believe you can find matches in them as well. Oh. Oh, this could be a real problem. This is not the time to run out of torches. And the wind is coming. That's going to burn this fire out real quick. See how fast, how quickly, yep, right there, how quickly things can get dicey. Alright, we're in and we still have fire. Welcome to Quonset Garage, Coastal Highway. Really nice base, tons of space, decent amount of loot here. I'll use this torch to start a fire eventually, but not quite yet. 2 more joined us today. Seems their horse couldn't go any further. One of them's called Sean. He's from Ireland. Not quite home, but close enough. Apparently he came here for an acting career. Best thing that he came here for an acting career. That is interesting. Best thing though is that he's got a bag of fruit pastilles that he's going to share just with me. Probably for the best, since everyone's so paranoid. The other idiots would probably think he was trying to poison them. I thought it would be safer this far north, less people and all. Maybe I should leave. Thank you, backer 644. I love the world building. Alright, I don't need that, but I'll... Oh, okay. Pork and beans, great. Glad I decided to take a look. So we're going to do some looting, and then we're going to do some inventory management, and then we'll see where we're going to go from there. I might just head straight to Desolation Point, even though I don't have any maple, just so I can get everything started. We have another hacksaw. 79%, pretty good. One better than mine, I'll just leave that be. This is typically my tool table, even though there's a workbench in the next room. I don't really need this, but I will take it. Put it right over there. Alright, we have a whetstone. Those are always welcome. Unlike sewing kits, you can't improvise a whetstone. You can go to Bleak Inlet. There's a workshop there, and I think there's one in Blackrock, although I'm not too familiar with Blackrock. And there's a milling machine. I think that's what it's called. And you can use that to repair... Sorry about that. You can use that to repair your equipment if you don't have whetstones, or just to conserve your whetstones. But that's a bit of a journey. Oh, I don't need to do that. Let me just... Oh, alright. May as well cook. I'll make some water too in a little while. I know it's not very dark, but I'm going to light this anyway. Just get a peek underneath some things and in some corners. And then I'll come back and I will loot. It's always good to search with some light, because it's easy to miss things in the dark. Decent amount of food. And I was right, I didn't need that cooking oil. Probably don't even need this cooking oil yet, but I will eventually. Alright, I don't need the light anymore. Checked all the corners. Don't think I'm missing anything. My mouse is acting up a little bit. I think you can see it's sort of stuttering, being a little bit non-responsive. I like to carry around a pot and a skillet. Pots, skillets, cans, they only take damage if you burn your food. So if you have one pot, one skillet, there are different recipes available to each. So that's why I like to take one of each. You don't really need a can anymore. You can use them later to make noisemakers. So that's an option. And I collect them for that reason. but you don't really need them. Why is my mouse doing this? So strange. If I was hunting right now, this could be a big problem. I'll get that sorted out. Right now, it's not a big deal. Alright. So decent stuff. Let's just eat that right now. Yeah, sure. Why not cook some porridge? Now I'll make some water. I like to use this as my medicine shelf. Take these with me in case I get food poisoning. Ah, I need to drop. This stuff. All right. Porridge is great. It's easy to make. You can make quite a lot of it. It degrades quickly, right? This is 75%. I just made it. All right, I keep crafting materials in one of these. Actually, these are very light. I'm just going to keep those. These, I think 24 is all you need, so I'm going to craft that. I'll craft these mushrooms as well. That's very cozy. Don't let anyone tell you this isn't a cozy game. It's also a horror game. Plenty to organize right now. Let's see what we got. We have some more porridge. Tons of coal, I'm not concerned. Speaking of which, let's drop some right here. Alright, I'll keep this one on me. Still have some tinder. Oh, I missed this one. Alright. Now, that looks ugly. I'll put this right over here. Alright. Okay. Let's see. I have a lot of tea. I'm going to keep the birch barks on me, I think. I'll keep one reishi. I'll put away a lot of these rose hips. I'll keep a few. Well, I'll just rip this up. I don't need to put that away. Let's see. We got salt. And oil. And oil. Buried some of that salt. Okay. I'll break these up later. I'll craft these up, and then I will go to sleep. Huh. I guess I miscalculated that. Well, then I'll also craft this. One liter takes about 1 hour. Tear this up. I don't really want to repair these hats. I'd rather wait until I have better hats and then spend the cloth on that. Don't need any of this. I very rarely craft torches. You can craft, I believe, 100% torches, but it takes cloth. And I'd rather not spend the cloth on that. But when your torches are ruined, it just takes 2 minutes and you can get a stick out of that. And in cases like this, where I'm just sitting around, waiting, that's worthwhile. How does this keep happening? I keep underestimating the cook time. Okay, what else? I'll just make some teas while that boils. That looks pretty good. Alright, I'm going to go to sleep. I will see you in the morning. Good night. Good morning. I now have a few options. I know it's dark. We'll get outside in a minute. I could go to Desolation Point right now. There can be maple on the way to Desolation Point, and I believe there can be maple in Desolation Point. But I would really rather come back and have my maple already cured with some guts ready to go so I can make a bow immediately. I don't want to lug some maple around as I'm forging. I also want to get deer hides. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically backtrack because there are some places where I could get maple along where I was. That lookout I went to, the abandoned lookout, I mentioned there could be maple below it. I'm going to check there. And then there are some cabins and there can be some maple near that. From there, I'm going to head over to, or I can, but I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to head over to the log sort. The log sort can have some miscellaneous loot. Nothing major. I think it can have a hammer, though. Don't need one, but it can have one. But importantly, there's 1 or 2 deer carcasses near the log sort. I know one of them's always there, the other one I'm not so sure. So I can get some hides. And that will be useful because down the road, I want to make these. I'll need quite a few hides. But it's a start. Yeah, the pants will be a big upgrade. So ideally, I would like to have at least 3 hides and a few more guts. So I'll kill some rabbits on the way. So I think that's the plan. So what I'm going to do now is just eat a little bit. I'm going to drop some water. And then I'm going to get a move on. I could drop more. I'm not going to need to take the hammer with me, for example, although it is a good defense weapon. But I'm already light enough, so I think this will be fine. I'm going to crouch before I leave, which decreases the aggro range on predators. Alright. I want to say I seem to be safe, but as soon as I say that, I feel like we're going to hear a bark. Now again, there can be a bear from that cave. He can troll down here. He can basically block your way up. So I got to keep an eye on that. It is pretty cold today. It's very early in the morning. It'll get warmer later. But I don't mind taking a bit of cold damage. I can always heal up. This isn't, late game misery. This isn't the Goa. You don't want your health too low because you don't want an animal to take you out while you're low on health. But so long as you're careful, losing a little health isn't a huge deal. So what I'm going to do is basically head back to the lookout. I'm going to check for maple along the road. In a couple of spots I just forgot to check. That birch I picked up, which I believe was right around here. Yep, right there. I thought that was a maple spot, but actually the maple spot is higher up, where I had already been. I'm just going to risk a sprain here. I really love nature. I don't spend as much time in it as I used to, or as much time in it as I would like to. This past summer, my family and I decided to make a concerted effort to spend more time in the woods. And that was great. It was also very therapeutic for me. It's therapeutic in general, I think. Human beings are from nature, and our lives that we've built so often separate us from nature. We go into a building, we go into a small room, maybe it's a cubicle, and that's where we spend so much of our time. And I think being out in nature, and for me, that's especially the woods and mountains. Just taking a look over here. It can be very therapeutic. It lets us reconnect to where we are from and where we still are. We don't truly leave nature behind. Nature's all around us. We just enclose ourselves. For good reason sometimes. But that's how it is. But it's therapeutic for me as well, because a while back, a tree fell on me. Almost killed me. And that was pretty scary. And for a while, I was very afraid of trees and wind. I still am a little bit. On a very windy day, I don't like to walk underneath trees. That's what did it. A gust of wind. I just left my house and a tree just came right down with a gust of wind. Hit me. The main trunk missed my head by maybe an inch at most. But I got battered. I was bleeding from all over, including my head, from all the other branches. And, yeah, I think I overshot the maple. Because I think this is the tower right here, right? Yeah, this is the tower. Let me just double check. Looks like I was already up here. Alright, I guess there's no maple over here. Unless I'm just missing it. So, I was pretty banged up. But that was okay. I healed up in a month or so. No major injuries. My foot was kind of banged up, but it's fine. I'm back to all of my normal activities now, but the woods were scary for me for a little while, so what I did was, on calm days, I would try to get out into the woods on days where there wasn't wind and try to expose myself to it. I don't know much about the efficacy of exposure therapy when it comes to fear in general, but the woods are something I love. And I thought, I can't do this. I can't be afraid of something beautiful. I can't be afraid of something that brings me so much joy. I have to try to make this work. Alright, is this goatable? Yeah, looks like it is. Probably from here. Oh, I don't know, it looks a little rough. Okay, yeah, that's fine. No problem. There's also a cave down here I can use to warm up. So there can be maple here. Yep, there's some maple. Great. Okay, so some of it panned out. So we started making a concerted effort. I went out there alone a few times. Well, I went out with my wife, and then I went out alone. And then I started bringing the rest of my family as I got more comfortable. And now I love it again. Why am I talking about this? It's because the long dark simulates being out in the wilderness, right? Simulates something that I love and I value. Let's see if I can go down here. Looks like I can... Well... Yeah, I bet I can. Okay, I'm going to check those cabins out in a second. I'm going to see if there's any maple around here first. Doesn't look like it. Grab some of these rabbits. Wow, okay. He made it as easy on me as he could have. He was doing me a favor. There we go. Well, I have at least one maple. And I think that's all you need for a bow. I'll double check. But I'm going to spend a couple hours inside, warm up, and then head down to the log sort and see if I can get some deer hide. going to check the other cabin. And then maybe I'll process these rabbits. Maybe I'll read or something. But I think I would rather process the rabbits later. I'm not super warm in here, but being in bed should warm me up a lot faster. Alright, looks like that's about it. So let's see. Oh, I actually have 2 arrows. Okay, well, in that case, I can do a little bit of processing. Let's get the meat, that way the next time I make a fire, I'll have that ready to go. Harvesting hides with your hands is, I believe, the fastest way to do it. So now that I've already made an incision using the hacksaw, I can just harvest this with my hands. I might be able to do that even without making an incision first, but I don't think so. I'm warm enough to do what I want to do. So I'm going to do it. Now I smell a lot, right? So once I cut those rabbits open, I became a lot smellier than beforehand, which makes perfectly good sense. Now normally I would go up there and then drop down to the log sort, but as I said before, and as I learned from that Bash Road video, roads give you a movement speed buff. So I really wanted to get down to this road as fast as possible. Now there's usually a deer carcass around here somewhere. I don't see any crows. I'm gonna go check it out anyway. Yeah, that wolf wants these rabbits. Alright. He won't bother me now. I'd love if I had a few more matches. But eventually I will. For whatever reason, you can walk right up these logs. You know, the rest of the game, you can't lift your foot over a quarter inch of snow. But for whatever reason, those logs, no problem. Walk right up on them. On that island to the left is what's called Misanthrope's Cabin. On that island to the right is Jackrabbit Island. Up, there's more wolves. I failed to get up to where I wanted to go. Here we go. No deer. Okay. There can be another deer just down the road here, so I'll check that out. Then after that, I think I'll just move on and head to Desolation Point. I'll start curing that sapling. You know, let me duck in here for a second just to shake these wolves. See what's in here. Okay, I have quite a few matches. That's not a big deal. All right. Okay, not much in here today. Take a little piece of cloth. let's see if I can get a deer. No, it doesn't look like it. Sometimes there's a deer carcass right over here. Alright, I'm gonna get back on the road. Probably fight past some wolves. I think I'm just going to head back to the garage. There's another place I can check for deer on the way. There are some houses. I think they're called the waterfront cottages, on the way to Desolation Point from here. In an Interloper, they're usually all destroyed. I think there's 3 of them. I don't remember the last time I saw any of them standing. That right there, a little door, that's a mine. You can find it easily from the log sort. That is an interesting place. So there's an elevator in that mine, which is only active during auroras. If you take that elevator down at the beginning of an aurora, because you don't want to be trapped down there if the aurora ends, you can find some decent loot. There are videos of people finding all sorts of crazy stuff. There are videos of people on Interloper going down there and basically finding nothing. It is extremely dangerous. There are a ton of live wires in the bottom of that mine. So you do not want to go there unless you are prepared, unless you are careful, you have plenty of time. You need to have full health, really, and it's useful to bring a lot of food and water in case you get trapped. I've seen people drop food and water right in the elevator. Right at the very beginning, they just drop it. That way they can move around quickly, collect whatever they need, and then when it's time to leave, they can pick it all up and transition out. So, when I started playing this game, it was a long time ago. I think it was before... Very nice. I think it was before Interloper was added, unless my memory is incorrect, which it can be. Memory is basically made up. We don't just sort of store a file and then retrieve it. We have to recreate it with neurological activity. And with the environment and all sorts of other things that go into it. But... this deer. If only a wolf was here, that would be great. Anyway. I don't remember what I'm talking about. Oh, so I started playing this game a long time ago. I think before Interloper was part of the game. And back then, Mystery Lake was the first region, I believe. But Coastal Highway was an early region as well. Yeah, hey, buddy. I need you to get out of here. Where were you when that deer needed killing? Come here. Yeah, get out of here. Oh, a little close. Okay. So, Coastal Highway was one of the early regions. Here's another one over here. Stick to the right side because he's going to come over this hill. I think we'll probably hear him. Oh, he's going to where I was. That's fine. And I remember I was playing this with my friend, and we thought, well, we got to get a rifle somewhere. And we thought, well, there's a rifle somewhere in Coastal Highway. And it's just such a an easy to navigate region. I mean, there's so many predators, as you saw. That can be a big problem. It's not necessarily easy, but it is very easy to navigate. I'm just going to get inside and eat some food. Because you can just follow this road around most of the region, the lower region anyway, and when you go up in elevation, there are other paths that are easy to follow. So it's hard to get lost here, unless there's a blizzard, and then it's easy to get lost no matter where you are. I'm going to start a fire. I'm going to cook that rabbit that I harvested, the 2 rabbits. I'm going to harvest their guts and their hides. I'm going to drop those, and then I'm going to move on to Desolation Point. That's heavy. I like to just use wood whenever I get any. I have to remember to take some torches this time. I'm running low on that. Let me cook these very small pieces first. There we go. Basically, instantly cooked. Okay. That is the smallest amount of... That is 3 calories for each of those. Okay. Let me eat this dog food. It's heavy. Just get rid of it. Sure, make some tea. Is that green? Is that always green? I thought it was brown. That doesn't look very good. I don't really want... I don't really want that. That doesn't look very good at all. I would like a little bit more water. And I'll process this rabbit. I'm going to leave all this stuff behind. I'll collect more sticks. I want to get some torches out of this. Couple of good ones. Not so good. I'll take it for now, but if I have better ones, maybe I'll get rid of it. Good. Not so good. Not so good. One more? Okay, that's all right. So, I'm going to call it here, and next time I'm just going to leave. I'm going to drop all these hides, I'm going to drop these guts to cure, I'm going to drop the maple, and then I'm going to head to Desolation Point through Crumbling Highway with this very torch, and I'm going to forge. So I'm going to get some scrap metal together. I think I already have some, but I have a hacksaw. I have tons of shelves here. Maybe I'll hack things up, but there's tons of scrap metal over in Desolation Point, so that won't be a problem. I need to bring a few cloth. I'm going to make a knife. I'm going to make a hatchet, and I'm going to make as many arrowheads as I can. Then I'll come back. I'll make a survival bow, and I will make some rabbit skin clothes, probably a hat, maybe some gloves, and then I'll start hunting. I don't have any deer hides. I would have really liked that, but I'll get some once I have a bow, if not sooner. And then we'll be well on our way. I'll loot the rest of Coastal Highway. I'll move to Mystery Lake. I'll maybe check out Hush River Valley Mountain Town, maybe not. And I'll head west to the Far Territory and start the tales. If you liked this episode, please leave a like. It really helps my videos reach more people. If you have any feedback or comments or thoughts, please leave a comment. I love hearing from you. Like I said earlier, I really appreciate your comments, not just for the algorithm, but just for the connection. I enjoy talking to you, and so I'm always really excited when I see a comment, and I try to respond to all of them. It's not hard right now. There's not that many, but that's okay. I cherish them. So leave a comment if you want to. Subscribe if you want to see the next episode or whatever else I'm going to do next. And otherwise, I just hope that you have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.